Do you have a lot of scientists that believe in creation?
Well,
or a literal creation?
Yes. I mean, there's this enormous spectrum. First of all, our entire education establishment and the very definition of science as it is defined today excludes the possibility of a creator. If you involve a creator, it's not called science. Now, that means even if it's true, it's left out of the thinking of generation after generation. So as a result, you're obviously going to end up with an enormous number of scientists who don't even consider it. They don't even think about it in those terms. They just assume evolution's true. They assume enormous periods of time have passed. And yet the truth gets through. There are a significant number of folks who work in the scientific community that know evolution could not possibly be true. But to maintain their jobs and credibility, they'll just often not say anything about it. But there are also an enormous number of very brave, technically savvy, and often world-class scientists who completely acknowledge the Bible's model for a literal creation of different kinds of life recently, a worldwide flood to define geology, which wipes out these huge time periods, is reality in the area of genetics, in the area of biology. One of the world's top geophysicists that studied how the continents of the earth move around, John Baumgartner, PhD in geophysics, created the model that everybody else uses to understand continental movement and drift, has shown those continents would have moved into position in a matter of months during the worldwide flood, not millions of years. One of the world's top geneticists, Dr. John Sanford, has shown genetic mistakes are building up so fast, it is impossible for any species to be millions of years old, because the detrimental mistakes are building up far faster than they can be removed. So evolution is tentatively impossible. Dr. Russ Humphreys worked for Sandia National Laboratories. He's a physicist that has shown literally the universe must have been created in a matter of days quite recently. It couldn't be billions of years old for a multitude of reasons. So there are highly qualified technical scientists that believe in a biblical creation model and are showing why that is true.
So as a believer, how do you minister to neighbors, family, and friends who are unbelievers?
Well, realize they are surrounded by a culture which is taught them that evolution's a reality, huge periods of time is a reality. So you have to be fishers of men. You have to intrigue them. You have to, just in normal conversation, start to point out the inconsistencies of their thinking, often by asking questions. Do you really, can you help me understand how a bacteria could have turned into a person? Do you understand, how could that little river have carved out that canyon and not left lots of sediment at the exit of the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon area? Did you know there's tissue, unfossilized, soft, stretchy tissue inside of a dinosaur bone? You have any idea how that could still be there if they're millions of years old? All of a sudden, they're starting to rethink their very view of time, history, space, reality, and science. But you've got to be educated enough to see these inconsistencies and bring them up in normal conversation. And all of a sudden, you're leading people toward trusting the Bible in the area of science and physical reality and history, which will lead directly toward them wondering more about its accuracy in other areas and who is this God anyway.
I love the way you put that. Thank you so much for being with us, Bruce.